Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our September 26, 2022 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including what's going on with the upcoming Battle of the Super Sons animated movie. We're going to be talking about where things are at with the comic books and so much more. We're also going to turn to you to ask for your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss. And as you can see, I'm not joined by my regular co-host, Michael Bailey. I am joined by my good friend, Craig Beamer. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Steve.
How you
Sorry
doing?
about that. I just was going through some technical problems on my end,
All good
but
now.
I'm here now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to catch folks up, sadly, Michael has had a bit of a stumble at work, and he's not in a good way. He's hopefully not broken any ribs, but he's gone for some scans and is worse for wear tonight. So we hope that he is fighting fit and doing well and doesn't have a lengthy recovery. So hopefully Michael will be back next week, but really appreciate you, Craig, jumping in at such short notice.
No problem. Happy to be here.
How have you been?
Oh, I've been really good. Just started school again in a different position. Busy time of year for teachers.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, really appreciate you jumping in as we send our best wishes to Michael, as I said, for a speedy recovery. Hope he's
hmm
doing okay. But fans want to hear about Superman tonight. That's why they've joined us for this next hour. And for them to get involved, just like you did, they can head to supermanhomepage.com/live and click on the Call Now button. There's the, whoop, I'll put up the information. Press the Call Now button at supermanhomepage.com/live, or you can or scan that QR code that's right there. So if you want to, that's what you do. There it is. That way. Yes, over there. And you can be part of our show. Talk to Craig and I tonight, and we'll probably about the halfway mark of tonight's show try to get some callers on. So you can do that. And if you want to do it now, you can, because you'll be put in the green room where you'll be able to watch the show, see what's going on. You won't miss out on anything. But if you're too shy and don't want to get on the camera or on the phone tonight, then feel free to post your comments in the chat room right there on YouTube. Fellow fans who are watching us live are doing that right now. So you can do that. And Craig and I will keep an eye on the comments that go along there as the show continues, and we can react to those questions and comments that you might have. Or if you'd like your comment or question featured on the screen, that's called a super chat. All you have to do is click the $ there on YouTube. A slider will appear on your screen, and you can decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate. We will feature your comment, your question, your thanks, your sticker, whatever it might be, on the screen as we go along tonight for Superman Homepage Live. Well, let's get into tonight's topics, and we have not a lot going on in the world of Superman at the moment, but we do have some news in regards to New York Comic Con. The Batman Superman Battle of the Super Sons animated movie will not only have its premiere at New York Comic Con, but it will also have a Q&A panel that will take place afterwards. This will be happening on, what is the date here? It's got here on Saturday, October 8th. So not long to go, a couple of weeks away. That's for the Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind animated movie, which is also having its premiere October 7th. Friday, October 7th at 3:30 p.m. on the main stage at New York Comic Con. Warner Brothers Home Entertainment will host the world premiere of Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons, followed by a panel featuring members of the cast and crew, led by Jack Dylan Glazer and Jack Griffo, the voices of Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, respectively, alongside Travis Willingham, who voices Superman Clark Kent, Laura Bailey, the voice of Lois Lane, director Matt Peters, screenwriter Jeremy Adams, and supervising producer Rick Morales. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about that animated feature. I'm a big fan of the stories with those characters, the Super Sons specifically. And yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like. And there's a lot of good DC animated movies out, so I'm hoping this adds another one.
Yeah, and this is the first ever fully CG animated film, so computer graphics all the way for this animated film, which will be interesting for the graphic style and the smoothness of the animation and all that kind of stuff. This was a new image that they released with this press release earlier today, showing John there on the back, riding on his father's back as he flies through the air. So a nice, cute image there of father and son. And obviously, it's a younger John Kent than what's currently in the comic books, where they aged him up pretty quickly. But so a young John Kent and young Damian Wayne taking on the big crisis that's going to happen in this movie without Batman and Superman being able to help out.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see young John Kent again interacting with Damian. I think that's a relationship that a lot of fans are yearning to see again either on screen or on the panel. But should be a lot of fun. I'm,
Yeah,
like I said, really excited, really optimistic about it.
yeah, you and me
And the
both.
animation style looks really nice too.
Yeah, pretty crisp, and some seen the trailer obviously that we've posted before, which gives you a feel for that what the animated movie will look like. And as Mind the Gap tells us in the comics, Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey are married in real life, so it's cool that they voice Superman and Lois Lane in this film. I imagine there'll be good chemistry there because they're married in real life. So there's if there's any arguments, that'll be sound very realistic.
Yeah, yeah. Have they voiced Superman and Lois in previous animated movies?
No, I don't believe they have. Although
So
Travis's
this is
name
their
does sound familiar.
okay. It'll be interesting to hear a new take on the voices of those characters.
Mm. So yeah, this
It's
film
always fun.
it is. It is always new. Nice to see new people take on the roles and see how they sound. So they're obviously New York Comic Con taking place in 2 weeks' time, but the Battle of the Super Sons animated movie will be available on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack, Blu-ray and digital starting October 18th, so a couple of weeks after the world premiere. So you can order the film through our website via Amazon. It's going to be a good one. I cannot wait to see what this turns out like. Should be fun.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Battle of the Super Sons. Now, DC League of Super Pets. Did you get to see this one yet, Craig?
Yeah, I took my kiddos, three of my kids to it. Or can't remember how many. Too many kids. But I took some of my kids to see it in the summer, and man, it was a really fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
The chemistry between the voice actors was there. Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, they work so well together.
Hmm.
And seeing those versions of the Justice League where the characters are still there, but there's still a little bit of tongue-in-cheek
Hmm.
references where it's fun, and they're not afraid to poke fun at themselves while also still staying true to the heart of the characters. It was a real treat.
Yeah, it was. I got to see this as well, and I was really impressed. And there are a few moments that tug at the heartstrings, and a couple of nods to the John Williams theme that really, for the older fans, are really cool to see, and a lot of in jokes that are just funny. And it's definitely a film for the whole family to see. And it's obviously available now digitally to download if you haven't been able to go see it at the movie theater. It finally hit the theatres here in Australia in the middle of September, so fans are here able to go see it as well. And just today, they released this fun little video of the three of the cast members, including Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, talking about themselves as pet owners.
Is this for kids? Oh, all right, never mind. I won't say it.
I have a kidnapped dog, product of a dog napping of a friend, Root Beer.
Really?
Root Beer the dog. She is a 10.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like the name.
What
You don't like the name Root Beer?
Nope,
Interesting.
not a fan of it.
kind of
Wow.
dog do you have?
I have I have a Doberman, and I also have a mini Bernedoodle. Yeah, I'm quite the dog guy myself.
Really?
Yeah, quite the dog guy. Rio and Roxy. Names go together. Names make sense.
Rio and Roxy?
Yeah.
Sounds like Rio,
Root beer.
Roxy, and root beer sort of goes
That's
together.
we are.
There you go. There we have it. Just a little bit of them talking about the names of some of the pets, Rio and root beer, and some interesting names for animals.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you have any pets yourself, Steve?
No. My sister's got a dog, Nugget, which is kind of like the family pet because every time we're all over together, everybody's just loves the dog. So I think if anybody else had a pet and brought the Nugget would just lose his mind, and it would like be, no, I'm the family pet. Nobody else is allowed to have one. It would just want all the attention. So don't have a pet. What about yourself?
We have one dog named Honey, and she's kind of a cuddle suck. She gets jealous of any other dog.
But they're great to have if you're a pet person. Never used to be interested. I was actually scared of dogs growing up myself, since my sister's brought Nugget into the family, it's just been a true blessing. Everyone just absolutely loves him, and it's so true. In watching this movie that pets and especially dogs are just it's unconditional love. They just you can be gone for 5 minutes and walk back in the room, and they're just happy to see you. Like it's just crazy.
And I love how this movie plays on that with, especially with Krypto's relationship with Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely emphasizes that mentality of a dog's love and loyalty.
Yeah, and it's funny how he gets jealous about Lois and the relationship that Superman has and with Lois, and so it's a really good film. If you haven't got out there, go see it. Also, while we're talking about DC League of Super Pets, you can watch that video that I just kind of gave you a preview of fully at our website. Always love to see the people behind the voices of these animated movies. But Chic Shoes are offering a free DC League of Super Pets charm with the purchase of any pair of kids' shoes from their extensive range. And this is what the charm looks like right here. There you have it. A little bit of like a dog bone shape with the Superman symbol or Krypto symbol on the charm there. It's limited time, one per customer, valid in stores while supplies last, and is available from October 19th so it's not even available yet, through October to 22nd. So late October, make sure you get your free charm with any purchase of Chic Shoes. Never heard of Chic Shoes before, but there you have it.
Me neither, but that's a cool little ornament there, little bauble. That's really cool.
Yep.
I know my kids would definitely fight over that.
You can add it to your dog's collar there on that way no one have to fight over it. All right. So today, November 26th, depending on where you are in the world, marks the 81st anniversary of the Fleischer Superman shorts being released for the first time in the world of Superman. So the Mad Scientist, as it's most commonly known, or it's actually titled Superman officially, was released on this day 81 years ago.
That's mind-boggling, the staying power this has had with the culture we live in. I was just watching one of the episodes with my kids just earlier today, and just the animation and the sound design and everything for those Fleischer cartoons are so well done and so crisp. If you didn't know, you'd never guess that was 81 years old.
No.
I mean, there's some stylistic things, but it looks so good.
And some of the stories for the later cartoons were very dated for their time, obviously set in the war era, in the 1942 onwards, and there's a lot of racial vilification, if you like, with the Japanese and the Nazis, the Germans, and how they're portrayed, and very much I guess stories of their time, and looking back at them now, you think it's a little bit cringeworthy, some of the stereotypes that are placed on some of the characters and some of the nationalities, but it is, like I said, a product of its time. But as for the quality, as you said, some of the smoothness, the crispness, the design, everything is just so top-notch about these cartoons. And I've done a mini documentary that's available on the website that's just been released today called Fleischer Superman, The Golden Age of Animation, which goes into the history behind the Fleischer cartoons and how they were put together, and how Max and Dave Fleischer really didn't want to, they had no interest in doing these animated shorts when they were, when Paramount came to them about, producing these. They'd done a lot of work for them already with Popeye and stuff like that, but had no real interest in doing this because, one, they weren't sure if they could do human characters properly, because they'd always done cute little animals and things like caricatures, not necessarily anything realistic. And so they quoted Paramount a huge amount of money per episode, thinking that there's no way they would go ahead with it. And with a few modifications to what they put forward, Paramount agreed. And so that's why these look so good, because they cost so much per episode. And they had the time and the money that they needed to be able to get the fluidity of the character, running and walking and flying and all that kind of stuff. It looks so realistic. Where you look at, say, 30, 40 years later, go to the Super Friends cartoons of the 1970s, and the animation is so poor and so, everything is, if the character is moving, just their mouth is moving and their head and their shoulders and everything stays the same. They might blink every now and again, but they really don't have that fluid animation like the Fleischer cartoons do.
Yeah, it's weird, and it must just have to do with production costs and cuts to those costs at that time frame. But going from those Fleischer cartoons to really any superhero cartoon until the 90s, it's a noticeable drop in quality. And like I said, it's just a testament to the talent and the energy that those people put into those early ones. And it's unfortunate that we do see a lot of those racially insensitive caricatures. But the episodes that you can find without those really stand up, and you should definitely seek those out.
Oh, 100%. You definitely should. Let's have a look at the theme from the Fleischer, or the beginning of the Fleischer cartoons, with the very first one, the Mad Scientist.
In the endless reaches of the universe, there once existed a planet known as Krypton, a planet that burned like a green star in the distant heavens. There, civilization was far advanced and had brought forth a race of supermen whose mental and physical powers were developed to the absolute peak of human perfection. But there came a day when giant quakes threatened to destroy Krypton forever. One of the planet's leading scientists, sensing the approach of doom, placed his infant son in a small rocket ship and sent it hurtling in the direction of the Earth just as Krypton exploded. The rocket ship sped through star-studded space, landing safely on Earth with its precious burden, Krypton's sole survivor. A passing motorist found the uninjured child and took it to an orphanage. As the years went by and the child grew to maturity, he found himself possessed of amazing physical powers. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. The infant of Krypton is now the man of steel, Superman. To best be in a position to use his amazing powers in a never-ending battle for true justice, Superman has assumed the disguise of Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper.
There you have it, the lengthy intro, but well worth a rewatch of how the introduction to Superman from that first Fleischer Superman cartoon. Interesting, they gloss over the Kents, there's no mention of them, just a passing motorist picks up the baby, the infant baby, takes him to a orphanage, and he grows up there and becomes Superman. And I guess because they didn't mention the Kents at all throughout the Superman series of cartoons, that it kind of just, we'll gloss over that part of his life and just go straight to him being Superman and doing all the heroics in Metropolis.
Yeah, it takes from, I believe, the Action Comics 1 origin story, where it is just the passing motorist drop him off at the orphanage. And I don't think the Kents are named as raising him until Superman 1. I'm just doing a reread of Golden Age Superman.
Cool.
I got the Volume 1 omnibus, and so I've just been diving in, and it definitely, you see that it reflects the period of Superman that it's created in, right? Even though it's only a couple years between Action Comics and Superman 1, but the watching the progression from this to our modern retellings of the Superman origin story, you see the different story beats that are added in. It's really neat and fun.
Yeah, and even the radio series, Superman steps out of the rocket as a fully grown adult. So there is no kind of, obviously later on they thought, hey, there's a wealth of stories here to be told of him growing up, and we can go into so much more, and they expanded on that. But yeah, the Fleischer cartoons, a great moment in Superman history, and 17 of them to be able to dig into and watch. And I remember discovering these on a VHS that I picked up at the, it wasn't a Blockbuster, but a similar type of video store where you can rent your videos back in the day, and thinking it was like maybe 3 per VHS, and thinking, wow, what are these? And I'd never heard of them before, and they were so good, and I'm thinking, far out, like compared to the Super Friends that, as I mentioned, that I grew up with on Saturday mornings, these were awesome. And just amazing.
Thinking, when's the next season coming out?
Yeah, where are more of them? Yeah, and there were so many of them that were lost, so to speak. They just always, reproduce the same ones over and over again. And now that they're in the public domain, people have gone back and kind of cleaned them up and tried to do this, that, and the other with them, and fix the audio and the special effects. So please check out the documentary that I put together. It's a mini, 10-minute video on the history of the Fleischer cartoons, goes into the voice actors, the connections with the radio series and the comics, and so much more. So please do check that out. That's the kind of videos that we're trying to produce on our YouTube channel, little explain videos on different parts of the Superman mythos. So get in there and check it out. All right, before we get into the, there really isn't any television side of things at the moment. Superman and Lois is in production. They're filming season 3 in Vancouver, and we cannot wait for more revelations from on-set filming and photos and things like that. And we will bring you any more details as that comes to hand, but the season 3 premiere looks like it will take place in January 2023, so we do have quite a few months to go, but we want them to take their time and do it right and get everything in the can, as they say, so that we can watch with interest when it comes around early next year. But it is the final episode of the month, and at the final episode, we like to do regular segments that Michael and I usually get into. So we're going to start with our regular segment called the Super-Secret Sound Byte. Here is our intro.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
Thank you, Lex. Yes, the Super-Secret Soundbite from last month was this sound.
X. Of course, the Federation of X's, not to be trusted.
Now, it's not too hard to guess where that came from. It was obviously from the DC League of Super Pets animated movie, and we did have a number of people guess where in the world of Superman that sound came from. There were 4 people in all. They were Lynn S.M., Mike Zumo, Ryan Ignatius Pratt, and Patrick O'Neill. So congratulations to those 4 people for guessing that sound came from the DC League of Super Pets animated movie. I'm sure you knew where that was from, Craig.
Oh yeah, I got that. And I'm sure when we buy it, I'll hear it over and over again.
So congratulations to those 4 people. But here for this next new month is the new Super Secret Sound Byte. Take a listen, see if you know where in the world of Superman this sound comes from. If you do, don't say anything. Don't put it in the comments as you're watching the show. You head to supermanhomepage.com. Yeah, that's right. Button up the lip. Under the contact menu, you'll find the Super Secret Soundbite entry form. Send your entry in and we'll read out the names of everyone who guesses where in the world of Superman this sound comes from.
And Lex Luthor, world's greatest criminal scientist, who is about to demonstrate his newest invention, a kryptonic beam projector.
So, do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? It's a little bit difficult because that voice has been heard in different mediums across Superman's history. So, if you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from, get involved in the Super Secret Soundbite, as I mentioned. Contact Us menu at the Superman homepage website. Send your entry in the Super Secret Soundbite. When Michael and I return to this segment at the end of October, we will reveal where it came from and who guessed it right. So get involved. All right, we also have our fan favorite segment, and you've got your script there. I sent you, Craig. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with the intro. All right, so the fan favorite question from last month was, who is your favorite Superman family member and why? Who was our first respondent, Craig?
Our first responder is Kirby Lindell, who wrote, "Picking my favorite member of the Superman family is a difficult decision. Supergirl, the original, and that is Linda Lee Danvers, aka Kara Zor-El, has been my favorite since childhood. There was something about Supergirl I just loved. Maybe the fact that her stories kind of were unusual for the time because one kind of led into the other. Or maybe it was that she was stuck in the orphanage. I really don't know, but there was something about her that I truly loved. And with her, Streaky was always a favorite as well as Comet. And I loved her romance with Brainiac 5. But my other choice is Crypto. I loved him so much that I named my dog after him.
Oh, nice.
And I have to keep on letting people know it's not the currency, but the super dog. Anyway, the most loyal member of the Superman family, except for when in the Silver Age they would twist him around and through some sort of plot device. Anyway, I can't make up my mind between the two of them. Excellent choices.
Yes, very well done. Thank you, Kirby, for that response. Next up, we had JP Rocha, who said, my favorite member of the Superman family is Kelex because he's the best servant in the DC universe. Very nice. Short and sharp, but thank you, JP. Kelex, well done.
Awesome choice. Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favorite Superman family character would be Lois Lane because half of the Superman legend is that of a love story, the other half being Superman's never-ending battle for truth and justice. Lois has been there since the beginning in Action Comics #1 and is the first lady of the DC universe and arguably comics in general. She is just as essential to the Superman mythos as is Clark himself. Of note, since being let in on Kal-El's secret identity in the 1990s, Lois's role has become even more essential in the Man of Steel's adventures, as we have witnessed many stories in both the comics and on television where she and Clark form a heroic team effort that underlies Superman's battle for a better tomorrow.
Nice. Thank you, Ryan.
Awesome.
That's a very well thought out entry. Excellent. Next up, we have a lengthy one from Kenny Crowley Jr., who says, my favorite Superman family member is, of course, Supergirl. Kara Zor-El is a great hero, and she stands for help, hope, and compassion for all. And like Superman, she's a friend that's what people need most. And she represents the best of us to inspire, to do good, and be better people. Melissa Benoist is my favorite live-action on-screen Supergirl on TV and on film, even though the Supergirl 1984 movie did not work as well as Helen Slater was a good. Still, Helen Slater was a good Supergirl / Kara. All three live-action Supergirls, Helen Slater, Laura Vandervoort, and Melissa Benoist, they all represent really specific parts of Kara's history, so it's hard for me to pick. But I love Melissa's version more and always will. Helen Slater is a Silver Age comic Supergirl before Crisis on Infinite Earths. Laura Vandervoort is more like the modern age comic Supergirl. Melissa Benoist is something of a combination, a lot like Peter David's Supergirl, DC Rebirth's comic Supergirl. Also, my favourite runs of Supergirl are the Silver Age, Bronze Age, and the Post-Crisis pre-New 52, 2005 to 2011 run of the comics. Rebirth Supergirl was alright, but the artwork early on in that run was a little iffy at best. Supergirl, along with her cousin Superman, are my favourite superheroes at DC, and I will always love the last daughter of Krypton. Thank you, Kenny, I should say. Very well thought out, very well written response. Really appreciate everyone getting involved in the fan favourite question for this past week. Supergirl is obviously a favourite.
Yeah, she's such a, I almost want to say, underutilized character in the modern Superman mythos. I would love to have one comic that was dedicated to Superman interacting with the Superman family. I mean, with Supergirl and Connell and John, and just interacting with them and showing that family aspect that Superman has.
Yeah,
I think that would be a great series.
I can't disagree. I think that would be awesome as well. So, a Superman family book would be an awesome addition to DC's publication list at the moment. But we can look forward to the fact that Superman is returning to his family in the comic books in the coming, imminently. He's coming back from Warworld and is about to get back into being the superhero of Earth with his family and reuniting with his son and Lois and everybody else. But our new fan favourite question for this week is, who is your favourite version, or what is your favourite version of Jonathan Kent? So get involved in the fan favourite question. The email address you need to send your response to is on your screen right now, info@supermanhomepage.com. Send in your response to this new fan favourite question. What is your favourite, or who is your favourite version of John Kent, be it live action, comic books, cartoons, whatever. And we will read out your responses when we get back to this segment next week. info@supermanhomepage.com. I didn't ask you, other than you kind of gave a bit of an answer there. Do you have a favourite family member for the Superman characters?
That is a tough choice, and I think it would depend upon the story. I've read so many stories where Lois Lane was just such a bright part of it, just this regular person who has all the courage and passion and dedication as Superman, who's willing to run in there regardless of the danger to herself. She's such an interesting character, I find. So I guess other than Superman, it would probably be Lois Lane.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there, especially, in more modern times where they are a duo, and, like in the 60s, and where she was always trying to find Superman's secret identity or try to marry him or trick him into marrying her. It was kind of a bit of an annoying character, and, obviously they're stories of their time, but, so much of Lois and her involvement with Superman as in what we're seeing, Superman and Lois on the TV show, is the Lois Lane that I really love to see. So yes, that's my.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. All right, we're over the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to take a quick break, play some messages, and then come back on the flip side to do This Week in History and also look at the comic book side of things. So we'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere, folks.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
When Lex Luthor unleashes his plan to destroy the world, you can be just like Superman. With a Superman Returns inflato suit, you can pretend to have all the muscles of a Man of Steel. Then, strap on the punch and crush gloves to hear the sound of every punch you throw and everything you crush. Inflato suit accessory, you put it together, batteries not included, punch and crush gloves sold separately. And when trouble hits the skies, you'll be ready with a Fight and Fly FX cape with real flying sounds. This cape responds to every move you make, whether you turn left or right to save the day.
And we're back on Superman Homepage live. I love those Superman Returns toys. The inflator suit. Never got the inflator suit, but the cape was a cool one with the sounds and everything that were involved.
Yeah, they looked really, really fun. I kind of want to get one for Halloween. I wonder if they make them my size.
You never know. It could be a mini cape. Like, sometimes Superman's cape is like very short and up to his backside. Sometimes it's down to his ankles. You just never know what kind of cape you might want. It might suit it all. All right. Well, let's get into this week in history. We don't have Michael to do it, but I'll do my best, and we'll see how we go.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bottles of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
All right, so this week in history, we go back to, let me just quickly get my notes together. There was nothing in 1942, so we jump straight into the 1952 segment, where we start with Adventure Comics number 182. The Superboy story in this was The Super Hick from Smallville. Yeah, nothing, I was going to say very nice about that kind of title, but The Super Hick, okay. The Ocean Restaurant was the Aquaman story. There was a Johnny Quick and Green Arrow backup story as well. That was 1952 in October. They also have, this week in history, back in October 1st, 1952, we had Action Comics. This was 1962, September 27th, 1962. Action Comics 294, The Kryptonite Killer. And the Supergirl story was The Mutiny of Superhorse. Yes, Lex Luthor with a kryptonite-looking creature thing that is beaming out of his little machine. Nice.
I hope they bring that robot back for the next Superman movie.
No, you don't. Then also in 1962, we had Action Comics 200. We had Adventure Comics 302. This was Superboy meets Steel Boy. And there was also a Legion of Superheroes backup story, Sunboy's Lost Power. So there you have the end of Sunboy there on the cover. Then in September 1962, we also had Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane number 37, The Forbidden Box, The Immortal Lois Lane, and on the cover we have Lois Lane's Wedding Day. But she doesn't look too happy because she wishes she was marrying Superman instead of Clark Kent. Little does she know.
Poor Clark.
I know, always rejected by Lois. Then in September 1972, we had Action Comics 418, The Attack of the Phantom Superfoes, and there was a backup story of Metamorpho, The Fountain of Death. More Superman, the cover says. That's a
fantastic cover.
It is a really cool cover. Nick Cardy, the artist there of that cover. Action Comics 418. Moving ahead, in Adventures of Superman 496 was released in September 1992. This was part Truth and Consequences. We have an awesome cover there with Mixie on the cover by Tom Grummett and Dennis Yankee. Awesome time of Superman comic books in the 1992 era, still in the Triangle era of Superman. Don't remember this story, but I'll have to search it out because Mixie is one of my favorite Superman villains.
Yeah, and that Tom Grummett, he's a fantastic Superman artist. I recently met him at an expo and got him to do a Superman sketch for me. It's just beautiful. Such an iconic artist for Superman.
And this was written by Jerry Ordway, who's usually more renowned as an artist, but was writing some stories at the time as well. And next up we have Action Comics 795 from September 2002. The 13th Hour is the title of the story inside, written by Joe Kelly. And we have a cover there by Kevin Nolan, very distinct. You can always tell a Kevin Nolan cover. You might remember him from the Superman Alien crossover. Also, we had Justice League, or JLA number 72 in September 2002. History is Written By is the story title. And this story was written by Joe Kelly with Doug Mankey and Tom Newen, the artists on the cover there. Good run, JLA. Moving ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I haven't read that run of JLA.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
For sure. September 2012 saw the release of Superman number 0, the New 52. Every End Has a Beginning is the story title, and this was a cover by Kenneth Rockefort. I remember a lot of his artwork, some pretty cool covers. Superman Family number 5 was also released this week in 2012, and Art Baltazar, the writer and artist on that one, with typical Art Baltazar artwork. This was a fun title, mainly for the younger audience, but well worth a look at. And then if we look into the real world, on September 25th was Christopher Reeve's birthday. Would have been his 70th birthday had he still been alive. So our happy heavenly birthday to Christopher Reeve, as they say. So he was born on September 25th back in 1952. Also this week was, as I mentioned, the Fleischer animated series premiered in 1941 on September 26th. And then coming up on September 20... when is it? No, I think it's later. On Sunday coming up. I think it's in October actually. Melissa Benoist's birthday on October. I'll have a quick look when it is. Let me get my calendar up. But Melissa Benoist was born. Where is it? I thought I had it there. October 4th. Melissa Benoist was born October 4th. So we'll probably actually remember this one again next week, because that will be in time for next week's episode. But she was born in 1988, which makes me feel really old, knowing that she's so much younger. But we'll probably include that in next week's. So there's This Week in History. Not as concise and as well thought out as Michael usually does it, but hey, we've all got our strengths.
I thought it was awesome. It was awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Lying through your teeth. All right, we have a guest caller that likes to call in every week for us. Mark Lax, one of our reviewers, like yourself, Craig, writes reviews for the website. So let's bring in Mark right now. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing well. Have you guys met before?
No, I don't think we have. No.
No, but you all get my
nice to meet you, Craig.
You all get my emails when we're doing our reviews, and I'm sending out cracking the whip for you guys. Hey, your reviews are due. Appreciate you guys and all the effort you put into doing those reviews. And speaking of comic book reviews, we've got a bumper week of Superman comic books out this week. I'm going to go through the hefty list of comics that are available this week. Here's what you've got to look forward to if you're reading comic books. The big one is obviously, well, there's a couple of big ones. Action Comics 1047, Part 1 of Kal-El returns. He's finally back from War. Our review of this comic by James Lance, the review that is, will be up on our website tomorrow. But this is available in a couple of different variant covers. One of Lois and Clark there on the cover. Clark doing his duck lips for his photo posing there. We've also got this one with a Harley Quinn 30th anniversary cover. Can't believe Harley Quinn is 30 years already since she first appeared. And there's another variant cover for Action Comics 1047. Then we've also got DC Mech number 3 of 6 out this week, and that's also available in a couple of different variant covers right there, one focusing on the Wonder Woman aspect of the character. Also out this week, DC versus Vampires number 9 of 12 with Supergirl on the cover, and that is available in a couple of variant covers as well. Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes comes to an end with issue number 6 of 6 out this week on Tuesday as well. There's the variant cover for that one. Then the big one, and it is a big one because it's not just a big story, it's a big title that a lot of fans are really excited about, and Superman Space Age Book 2 is out, and that's available in a couple of variant covers as well. A very Fleischer-esque type cover there. Superman fighting robots is always a good image. And Mark reviews that for us. We'll get to that in a second. Young Justice Targets number 3 is also available this week, and that's available in a couple of different variant covers. And then in the trade and collected editions, you've got DC versus Vampires Volume 1 hardcover out this week. And then the trade paperback Collecting Titans United is out this week as well. So a bumper crop of comic books available, the big two being Action Comics 1047 and Superman Space Age number 2, which you reviewed, Mark. And it must have taken you like 6 hours to write that review because...
It took me actually, I did it over 2 days, if you want to know the truth. I did it over 2 days because there's just so much, and you really have to go into everything in order to really, I tried to maybe just in the very beginning, just kind of go this, but you can't. There's so much detail. There's so much going on. You really have to get into it and just explain it all. And, so I did.
You did a great job. So, I mean, it's, I haven't read the comic myself because I usually get them, when everybody else does. But you guys obviously will get access from the Superman homepage to advanced reviews, so we can get our reviews up on time on the day that the books are released to the general public, so they can hopefully, if they're kind of sitting on the fence, go, oh, I wonder what the Superman homepage crew think of this one, and go, okay, they're giving it a 5 out of 5. I've got to get it, or 1 out of 5. Maybe I'll give this one a miss. So
that Superman Space Age, that is a very cool story so far, and the art is beautiful. I'm really excited to get this in print. I've read the first 2 digitally, but it's a bit of a trip to get to my local comic store, so I've got to go and I've got them on file, but I got to go pick them up soon. Pour over the art.
Yeah, Allred's doing just an unbelievable job. It just, it's fantastical, but it's also, there's a little bit of grittiness, a little bit of realness he also puts in it, and it's just fantastic.
Looking forward to
those war pages. Sorry, Steve. Those war pages from the first issue were just such a beautiful mix of that grittiness, but still maintaining his pop art visuals that he's known for. Awesome work.
Really cool. So that's the comic books out this week. Looking forward to those reads. A lot to sink your teeth into. And if you're, you've been maybe sitting on the fence with Action Comics because Warworld just wasn't your cup of tea, and you were thinking, when's he going to go back to being on Earth? Well, this week's Action Comics 1047 is maybe a good place to jump back or jump on, and then you'll be able to kick on into the whole Kal-El return storyline, launching into Action Comics 1050, which they're treating as a big anniversary type of milestone issue, and it's a good time to get involved in the comics.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that
definitely.
Action Comics, Philip Kennedy Johnson, he is hitting it out of the park. He did such a good job with Mongol, and I am very excited to see how he writes Metallo and Lex Luthor. It's just been such a good, epic story. Just really cool.
I was surprised in the beginning because I had never heard of him.
Yeah.
when
Me
he
either.
came on the title. Excuse me. And he, they started with the story of the Golden Age and all this, and I was kind of like, I don't know where this is going. I didn't really like it that much. And then they started doing the War World stuff. And then I was, this is just fantastic. It was a long story. It was a very, very long story.
It was drawn
But it
out.
was really well told. It was really good. And I'm looking forward to his, to what he's going to do in Metropolis now.
For sure, and it's a good, taking him off world. One, it allowed John to come into his own as Superman on Earth, and without having to rely on his dad all the time. And two, it allowed them to tell a story that didn't have to take into the consideration the fact that the secret identity is not happening and not there. And so Superman being on another planet, kind of, it would be nice to get back to Clark Kent stories, but it was a good way of them kind of telling a great Superman story without having to mention the elephant in the room.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so far the War World saga was a story that could have been from almost any era of Superman. Right? It wasn't tied to any specific events that were going on in any DC editorial shifts. It was just this is a pure Superman story, and I think I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But I'm also really excited to see how this Superman interacts with his son again, and with Lois, and with the rest of the cast that we love in Superman.
For sure. Yeah. All right. We had a sneak peek at this last week when, actually a couple of weeks ago, when we had Chuck Harter talking about his Superboy and Superpup lost videos as our special guest a couple of weeks ago. Brian Mckernan, who's a good friend of mine, a good friend of the websites, and has been part of the Superman world as far as documenting so many different things in the advertising world that touches base with Superman, and a journalist in his own right. He has a new book coming out, and it's with Thanks to Superman by Brian Mckernan. The book is available now through our website via Amazon. It's a 189-page paperback book available for just $15. And Brian has put together a book collecting 40 years of interviews, reports, and observations about Superman's media career from the unique perspective of an editor and writer of television and movie trade magazines. And Brian is actually going to be a special guest on our show early next month to come and talk about the book and give us a bit of a preview of what the book entails. And I'm looking forward to, one, catching up with him, and two, being able to celebrate this new book that he's published through Parville Press. And I'm looking forward to being able to dig into what is involved in this book, because he runs a really good Facebook page on Superman in advertising and media that delves into all the different aspects of how Superman's image has been used across so many different promotional aspects, whether it be for telephones, with cars, with cereal, you name it. Superman has been used in advertising.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter, yeah, exactly. Hot cocoa, anti-smoking ads. We've shown some of those ads here. So I'm going to really looking forward to seeing what he's collected into this book that he's published.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
it looks interesting. It's nice to get a different perspective on it.
Yeah, for sure. So looking forward to that book with Thanks to Superman. Also, I was surprised that Australia Post here in Australia, obviously, the post office here has released a series of stamps of DC characters celebrating DC Comics superheroes and villains. There are 12 stamps and 12 stickers in this DC Comics stamp pack, and from Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Harley Quinn, and so many others featured on these stamps and stickers. That's the cover of the little folder there. There are the stamps, unique shape to them as well, which is quite interesting. There are the stickers that you can obviously put on the envelopes if you wish, and they're available now through Australia Post. So if you're what's the word for a stamp collector? There's something. Come on, you're a teacher. Word. Come on, Craig, you're a teacher. You should know this. I was relying on you. Someone in the comments will let me know. There is a word for a stamp collector. It's Fleischer, something with a PHIL, something along those lines.
That's a very specific bit of knowledge. I'm sorry, it doesn't fall.
Let me ask Siri. Hey Siri, what is a stamp collector called? Hello, Siri. Philately.
Philately.
There you go. Philatelist is a stamp collector. There you go. You learned something.
Be careful the way you say it.
Yeah, you do. Don't say you don't learn anything here on the Superman homepage.
Yeah, you learn something new every day.
Useless information in this head of mine. It's got to come pretty useful sooner or later.
I love it.
There you go.
Philatelist.
Philatelist. Okay.
Hey, do we have a minute? I want to show off something that I just got for Superman related. Okay, so I got into it's expensive omnibus collecting.
Yes.
And so recently I purchased 2 Superman ones, which I have fallen in love with. Superman the Exile, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
This beautiful
one
thick
of the
book.
Best.
Oh, having not read Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I don't have the hardcover book, but I've read the story, which is incredible. So it's worth it just for that.
It was some of the most fun I've had reading a Superman comic, and I think I've read most everything from 2000 on, but those late 80s, early 90s, Jerry Ordway, Dan Jurgens, Roger Stern, Cary Gamble, just so much fun and so good. And then for the history enthusiast, I got
the Golden Age.
The Golden Age Omnibus Volume 1, which been so much fun but so hard to read because comics were so different then.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I found them a little easier to read than I thought I would when I started reading them, but no, yeah, they're Golden Age could be kind of tough.
And I love the villains. The issues he fights bad drivers, and that's the whole issue. He's trying to stop bad drivers, and you're like, why am I this entertained by Superman stopping bad drivers?
And why isn't he doing it today in my neighborhood?
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that with us, Craig. That's really interesting. And thanks, Mark, for calling in once again this week. Great to have you.
All right, guys. You take care, Craig. It was nice meeting you.
It was nice to meet you too, man.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Mark.
Bye.
And that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. I want to thank you once again, Craig, for jumping in at such late notice. For Michael Bailey, who, as again, we send our best wishes to and hope he's making a speedy recovery after having a bit of a fall at work. But thanks again, Craig. Really appreciate you jumping in tonight.
Hey, it was always my pleasure to be here. I just have the greatest time. Sorry, the technical difficulties some kids were running through as well. But it's always fun to be here and talk to you.
And thanks again. And don't forget, folks, hopefully Michael will be back with me next week on Monday, October 3rd, I think it is, for another edition of Superman Homepage Live at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And if you'd like to support the Superman homepage, click the join button below right there on YouTube. There are different levels of perks for different levels of membership. But I'll be back next week with Michael. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Eunice, on behalf of myself and Craig. Thanks for joining Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.